लक्ष्मी नरसिंह भगवान की, प्रहलाद महाराज की, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय।
हरे कृष्णा. लाउडा बोले छे हरे कृष्णा. તમારો આરતી એન્જોય કરે છે? हाँ तो बोलना पड़ेगा ना. हाँ, everybody enjoying आरती. Yeah. Actually, Hare Krishna moment always when you come, so you see the some all the Hare Krishna devotee very good smile face. Yeah. Yeah, they always smile happy. Yeah, you're going to see all the devotees when you text Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah. When you enter Hare Krishna temple, we have a special password. You have to say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you have to remember this password, yeah? I don't know about your mobile password. Well, program going to be continued today up to 10 o'clock night. So different artists coming, going to singing here, playing, and especially 7 o'clock we're going to do Sandhya Aarti, going to dance. So if you want to lose some weight, then you come dance with us, yeah? And now it's going to be Bhagavad Gita class. Yeah, Prabhu? All the senior temple devotees giving class now. So you can stay with us, or you can go prasadam outside, you can go prasadam, a long queue you have to remember, yeah? So you can go later, no problem. So we need this place, actually this space needed there. So Prabhuji is going to start giving Bhagavad Gita class. Thank you very much for coming Hare Krishna temple. Hari Bol. He knows everything. He's an old man. Pandai. Thanks.
Hold my bag, please. Actually, come with me.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Okay, everybody's ready? Haribol. So before we start speaking from Bhagavad Gita, we're going to try to invoke the Lord's mercy a little bit by singing Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtutara Satashi Srimad Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtutara Satashi Srimad Bhaktivedanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinatha Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulasi Devi Ki. Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories unto the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So we're going to hear a little bit from Bhagavad Gita and hopefully say something of value, and I hope that you will all be able to take something away with you from the next 45 minutes. And if you have any questions on anything that we're speaking about, then please don't be shy, and we'll do our best to answer them. Of course, the ability not only to speak about Krishna, but also to hear properly about Krishna is very much dependent on grace, mercy. Chanting is certainly an art, yes, how to chant properly and with the right mood, the right attitude, depending on the Lord, understanding that one is not the doer, but rather one is simply an instrument in the hands of Krishna. And the more one is surrendered to Krishna, then certainly Krishna can use you as an effective instrument. But hearing is also an art. Yes? Srila Prabhupada writes that simple hearing is not all. One must realize the text with proper attention. So when we give our attention sincerely and seriously to the topics of the Lord and to His message, then Krishna will reciprocate with us. He will enlighten us from within. So he says in Bhagavad Gita, Jnana Dipena Bhasvata. I, residing in their hearts, destroy the darkness and the ignorance that is there by shining a bright light, a bright lamp of knowledge. And that is not simply theoretical knowledge, but it is realized knowledge, practical knowledge. Krishna will wake us up and enlighten us from within when He sees that we are very serious and sincere to hear about Him. So, Shunvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhanoti Suhrit Satam. When the devotee becomes very eager, very enthusiastic and eager to hear about Krishna, then the Lord, seeing that, perceiving that for Himself, He helps the devotee by cleansing all the garbage that we have accumulated in our hearts over many years and also over many lifetimes. And this act of hearing about Krishna and hearing from Krishna through His devotees, through the scriptures, actually the devotees explain the scriptures to us, like Srila Prabhupada, has written so many wonderful commentaries and purports on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So it is through the mercy of the devotee we can relate with and associate with the scriptures. But this act of hearing itself is extremely pious. Punya, Shravana, Kirtana, hearing and chanting. And that continued act of hearing and chanting from Krishna and about Krishna, that will purify us and uplift us to the point where we become very sincere lovers of the Lord. We may end up hearing about Krishna by accident. We just stumbled into the temple room. Someone was giving the class. We had nowhere else to go, nowhere better to be. Thought, I might just sit down here and listen to what is being said. That might be the only reason for us to be here. And so much benefit will come just from that good fortune. We may come and hear about Krishna because we think it is good for me, it'll do me some good, it'll help my material problems, solve some of my material problems, it'll also give me some blessing, some good fortune, with which I can be more comfortable and happy in this material world, right? That also we may be thinking like that. But really, we want to come to the point of understanding that I am spirit soul, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. I really exist in order to cooperate with the Lord in His satisfaction, in His pleasure. That is the purpose of my existence. Without rendering loving service to Krishna and making Him happy, then there is no purpose to my existence. We have to come to that realization because that is the ontological truth. That is the reality of our existence. Our existence completely depends upon God. We're here because of God. And we enjoy, as far as we can enjoy in this world, because of God. Because of the facilities that He gives us. The opportunities, the facilities. Yes, all of that is given by the Lord. And at any moment, any of those facilities can be withdrawn. At any moment. So we are completely helpless in this material world, completely dependent upon Krishna for everything. Yeah? And the purpose of our existence is really to enjoy with Krishna. Eko bahusyam. The one becomes many for the purpose of enjoyment. So we are each of us little tiny fragments of Krishna. Mamaivam sho jiva loke, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. That every living entity in this material world is a tiny part and parcel of me. They're mine. Mama. Mama eva amsho. They're my part. Right? So you belong to Krishna. I belong to Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. We don't have life separate from Krishna. So if you own something, if something belongs to you, then you have the right to say how it is used. Yeah? If it's my car, then I'm going to decide where I drive it. You know, if it's my jukebox, I'm going to decide which song gets played next. You know? It belongs to me, so I'm the controller of that thing. And I'm the one who should derive all enjoyment from it. Yeah? This is very easy, of course, in the realm of material objects that have no sentient will. Yeah? The car is not saying, oh, really? Do we have to drive there? I wanted to go in the opposite direction. Right? The car is not protesting. The jukebox is not saying, or the record player is not saying, record player, that's outdated now, isn't it? Even MP3 players are outdated. What do we have now? Streaming services, right? I'm going to dictate to the streaming service, I want to listen to this song. The streaming service is not saying, are you sure, my dear sir, my dear madam? Really? Wouldn't you prefer to listen to that one? Of course, we're getting closer to that, right? She's suggesting, she's suggesting at every turn practically. The ability for us to think for ourselves is kind of being cut into. Yeah, the automated AI is telling us what we maybe should do or would like to do. It's not yet dictating, but at least suggesting. Anyway, so in the realm of material objects, dravya, things, then we can push them this way and that and decide how I'm going to enjoy and control this thing. It's more difficult when it comes, of course, to people, because they also have a say and some free desire, free will. And we will say to the child, come sit down, listen to the class. And the child may say, I don't want to, Mommy, I want to go play on the stairs. Yeah, or I want to go outside and see the geese. Or I want to play with my game in the car. So, because there is disharmonious desire, separate desire, like that, then there's conflict. Right? I'm trying to control, to do what I am planning, what I'm desiring, but you have a different desire, and you want to control your own movement. Yes? So there's a bit of a fight. So if the child is not cooperative with the will of the parent, then there's a tantrum, there's tears, right? There's struggle. If the parent is very strong, then if the parent's will is very strong, then the child will ultimately have to accede to that will. If the parent is not so strong, if the child is very strong, then the parent will be pulled around by the desire of the child. Yeah? So all of us in this material world have an independent desire, independent will. And we are trying very much to exercise our independent will. And the result of our exercise of independent will is that we are simply rotating in this world of birth, death, old age, and disease. Right? On account of our desire, which leaves Krishna out of the picture. Yes? There's no room for God, there's no room for Krishna, because I have my plan. Yes? And I'm not aware of God's plan. Right? And if I was aware of it, then I would probably not be going along with it, because I have my plan. Krishna consciousness means to be interested in God's plan and to decide to align my plan with God's plan. Right? This is the simplicity of Krishna consciousness. What does God want? What is Krishna's desire? So for himself, Arjuna, in the Bhagavad Gita, he did not want to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. For himself. Right? He had all kinds of reasons why he should not fight and why he did not want to fight. And all of those reasons were for himself. I will not be happy, Krishna. I will not be happy if we win the war. I will not be happy if we lose the war, if I get killed. Right? Either way, the outcome of this war, I'm not going to be happy. I won't be happy if I get killed and go to heaven. And I won't be happy if I win the war and enjoy the kingdom on earth. Either way, my senses will not be satisfied. Then Krishna spoke to him Bhagavad Gita. And after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, the same Arjuna decided to fight the war, not for his own satisfaction, but for Krishna's satisfaction. Same Arjuna, same war, but now different decision. Why the different decision? Because his consciousness has changed from I have to please my own mind and senses to I have to please Krishna. This is the essence of Krishna consciousness. How to satisfy the transcendental senses of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, bhakti or devotional service means to engage all of the senses, all of our senses, which actually belong to Krishna, but we are claiming them as our own, but to engage these senses in the service of the master of the senses. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavartam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhakti rutama. That's the definition of pure bhakti. It means to have no separate interest, no separate motive, other than favorably serving the Lord according to His desire. His desire. And what is the definition of bhakti that Rupa Goswami gives? How does it go? I always forget the first line of this. I'll remember it as soon as I walk out of the room. Anyway, Hrishikena, Hrishikesha, Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchite. The Lord, Krishna, He is also known as Hrishikesha, which means the master of the senses. That doesn't mean the master of His own senses, although He's certainly the master of His own senses. But He is the master of all senses. Every sense. My senses, your senses, everybody's senses in the world. Krishna is the Lord and Master of those senses. He's the controller of those senses as well. So like I was saying previously, the one who possesses and who has control of deserves to enjoy those senses, to engage those senses for his own purpose. It's easy for me because all I have to do is speak. It's more difficult for you because you actually have to concentrate on one sound, right? So the more noise there is, then the more difficult it is for all of us. So Krishna is known as Hrishikesh, right? The master of all senses. And bhakti means to use the senses that Krishna has given us in the service of the master of the senses. Yeah? Servant means I have a master and my work is simply to please the master. But this is not a very popular idea in this material world. Why is that? Because everybody in the material world is not interested in rendering service to a master. Unless, of course, they get a nice salary. Unless, of course, they are fed sumptuously. Yes, I will do this service for you. I will work hard for you, 9 to 5, and at weekends. Provided that you pay me regularly. Right? Here's the bank account number, and this is my price. Then I will render service to some master. But if we don't receive some remuneration, then we're not interested in being anyone's servant. And certainly we're not interested in rendering service to a master who does not reciprocate with us. Right? I will love you as long as you love me. Right? I remember not so long ago I saw on someone's Facebook profile their description of themselves was, if you respect me, I will respect you. And I was shocked because this person had Vaishnav Tilak. Yeah? So this idea that if you respect me, I'll respect you is actually not the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself teaching us how to be a devotee. What does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? He says, Trinadapi sunichena torori vasa hishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. He says, you chant Hare Krishna constantly, 24 hours a day. You engage your tongue sense, engage it in the service of Lord Hrishikesh, Krishna, for his pleasure. by chanting His holy names. And how can you do that? Well, you should be very humble. Yeah? You should be more humble than the straw in the street. You should be very tolerant, like a tree. Come hell or high water. Yeah? Come blazing heat or, freezing cold. You should be tolerant. You should be tolerant of the insults of others. And amanina manadena. You should be respectful to everyone. But don't think and don't expect that they're going to respect you back. Offer respects to everybody, yes, according to where they are, who they are, what their position is. Be respectful. And if they're not respectful, don't become all indignant. They didn't show me any respect. Do they not know who I am? I will never offer them respect again. Right? No. Be respectful to everybody and don't be put out if you don't receive any for yourself. Then you can chant Hare Krishna constantly. So, love in the material world means simply a business exchange. Simply a business exchange. I love you if you love me. I respect you if you respect me. Real love means whether you ignore me, hurt me, or warmly embrace me, still you're my master. Still I love you. Still I'm sold out to you, and I will do anything to please you, anything to make you happy. That's love. That's love. Doesn't exist in the material world. Little glimpses of it, maybe, yes. Right? The mother will sacrifice everything for the small child. Of course, she'll have her limits. And she knows her limits. Right? That is about as good as it gets. That's almost the highest manifestation of love in this material world. But Lord Chaitanya says, Ashla Shiva Padaratam Pinashtu Mam Adarshanan Mam Karotu Va Yata Tata Va Viridhatu Lampato Mad Prana Natastusa Eva Naparaha. Whether you trample me or warmly embrace me or make me broken-hearted by not being present before me, still you're the Lord of my life. Still I love you. And I cannot give up the work to please you, to satisfy your senses. That is only possible if a relationship is eternal. So the relationship between the living entity and God, that is a real relationship, that is an eternal relationship. How is it possible that you can serve this master, Krishna, without needing or expecting anything in return? How is that possible? It's possible because the reward of that service is the service itself. The service itself is so pleasing, so wonderful, that the service itself is the reward. And the example given many times is the hand. In order for the hand to function and for the hand to be healthy, the hand has to serve the stomach. The hand puts food in the mouth, and that food goes to the stomach. The hand must be a servant of the stomach. Then the hand is healthy, happy, nourished, and serving its natural function. Happy hand, healthy hand. Each of us has that kind of relationship with God. By serving the Lord, we are served. Right? We are nourished by rendering service to the Lord. Just like by watering the root of the tree, all of the leaves, the branches, the twigs, everything, the whole tree receives the benefit of that water simply by watering the root. Krishna is the root of this creation. And simply by serving the root of the creation, that service is distributed everywhere, to everyone. And therefore, it is also distributed to us. When we serve Krishna, we help ourselves. That's how it is possible to love Krishna without any expectation of return. Because the service itself is the reward. The love itself is everything I need. If I'm in love with Krishna, and my life is given up to pleasing Krishna, and then if it's real, then I can continuously do that without interruption. Because it's real and because it's completely satisfying. And how do I know it's satisfying? Well, just like if you eat a very nutritious meal, something that you really like, with every morsel that you put into your stomach, you're feeling satisfied, nourished. Nobody has to tell you, oh, you've had enough to eat now, right? Your hunger is now satisfied. You can stop eating now. You don't have to wait for anybody to tell you that. You know yourself. I no longer feel hungry. Oh, that was such a nice meal. I'm so satisfied. Loving devotional service to Krishna should be and is like that. It should be completely satisfying to the senses. Tushanti cha, ramanti cha. The devotees are completely satisfied and enjoy transcendental pleasure by always hearing about Krishna and discussing his glories. Let's read something from Bhagavad Gita, which is service. This hearing and chanting about Krishna and hearing from Krishna, this is transcendental service. Okay, please, somebody give me a number between and inclusive of 1 and 18. Yeah? Anybody, give me a number between 1 and 18. 7? Okay, 7. Very good. That's very good because amazingly enough, there's no hard copy of the Bhagavad Gita on the shelf in the temple room. Usually there is, but today there's not. So I have to use this. And I happen to be on chapter 7. Okay. Let's see how many verses there are in chapter 7 quickly. There should be almost 30. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there we go. Wow, exactly 30. Okay. So, please, somebody, give me a number between 1 and 30, inclusive. What was that? 7. All right, 7's popular, right? I did this a few weeks ago before Arti, and we also got 7. What are the odds, huh? Okay, so let's go for 7. Does anybody know what 7 is? Just while it comes up here. I'm just testing you. Huh? Who knows Bhagavad Gita that well? They can tell me what 7 is. 7 is a wonderful verse because Krishna, he reveals how he is the ultimate, how he is the supreme. He says to Arjuna that there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, just as pearls are strung on a thread. So here we are, finally landing at text 7. Krishna says, Mata parataram nanyat kinchirasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam protam Sutre manigana iva. He says to Arjuna, O conqueror of wealth, Dhananjaya, right? Dhananjaya is a name for Arjuna, which means conqueror of wealth. Arjuna, at one point, he had to go out and win some wealth for his brother, the emperor, Maharaj Yudhishthira. So being very expert as a Kshatriya, then Arjuna was able to obtain that wealth and bring it back as tribute to his brother. And then that wealth, that money was engaged in the upkeep of the kingdom and in the service of the Lord. So he addresses Arjuna in this verse as, O conqueror of wealth. He says, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. This is very wonderful. Isn't it wonderful to find this knowledge? We're born into this world in complete darkness, complete ignorance. We don't know who's in charge, where it came from, how this all came about, what I'm doing here, where I'm going, where it ends up, what's it for? And we find Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna says, I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all of this. There is no truth higher than me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, he says, there is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal. As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the Absolute Truth is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And this is confirmed in every step. So if we actually hear Bhagavad Gita from Krishna or his real representative, we will understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth in the ultimate issue is a person. So the Srimad Bhagavatam also says, Vedanti tattva viras tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists, so people who actually know spiritual life, spiritual knowledge, they define the Absolute Truth in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahman means the impersonal energy of the Lord. Paramatma means the localized expansion of the Lord. And Bhagavan means that personality from whom both Paramatma and Brahman come. Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, is the source of Paramatma, who is everywhere, all-pervading. And he is also the source of Brahman, which is the Lord's energy, which is also all-pervading. In other words, Sri Krishna, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, is the source of everything. And when we say everything, I mean everything. And he's a person. That the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Absolute Truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. So Lord Brahma should know he is the chief person in this universe besides Lord Vishnu, right? Krishna. Brahma is the first created being. Yeah? And he helps to create the universe as a servant of the Lord. And so he should know. If anybody else should know, apart from Krishna, then Brahma should know. What does he say? He says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. That is, the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, is Lord Krishna. Right? These are Brahma's words. Ishvara, Parama, the Supreme Controller, Krishna. The Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So an impersonalist is someone who thinks that the Absolute Truth is not a person. They think that the Absolute Truth is impersonal. How you get the manifestation of personality from a source that has no personality is illogical and beyond me, but that's what these people tend to think. Not very smart, okay? The cause must have all the ingredients of the effect. So if we see personality, then the cause of personality must contain personality. So impersonalists, they have a difficulty adjusting to the idea that ultimately the Absolute Truth is a person. They can't accommodate that idea because their idea of person is very limited, you know. They can't imagine a person who is so great that he is completely aware of everything and also omnipresent, present everywhere. They can't get their heads around that because they're not like that. Right? I'm not omnipresent, I'm not omnipotent, I'm not omniscient. Therefore, surely there cannot be a person who is, because nobody is a greater person than I. Yeah, so this is the foolishness of such a person. So they argue on the strength of the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, which says, Tato yad uttarataram tad arupam anamayam ya etad vidur amritas te bhavanti atetare dukam evapi yanti, which means, in the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, right, so Brahma is the creator. He serves Krishna by creating this universe. Beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contaminations. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental. But those who do not know him suffer the miseries of this material world. Okay, the impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam. But this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge as described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above. So Krishna, Lord Brahma says, Krishna has a form which is Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vigraha. It is eternal, it is full of knowledge, and full of bliss. That is Krishna. So how can this person who is Satchidananda, Vigraha, also be Arupam? What does Arupam mean? It cannot mean no form, because Brahma has already confirmed that Krishna has a form which is full of eternality, knowledge, and bliss. So what is the real meaning of Arupam? The real meaning is no material form. Krishna has no material body. Rather, he has a spiritual body. And actually, there's no difference between Krishna's body and he himself. Other verses in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad substantiate this as follows. Vedaham etam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasa parastat tam eva vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanya panta vidyate ayanaya yasmat param na param asti kinchid yasmananiyo najayo sti kinchit. Translation. Right? We're almost finished this purport, and then we'll have questions. Translation. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. So Krishna is above and beyond this material world. As a person, his personality is not of this material world. His personality is all spiritual and eternal. And if we can know him, we can also get out of here and go there. There is no truth superior to that supreme person, because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest, and he is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree, and he illumines the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his extensive energies. From these verses, one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-pervading by his multi-energies, both material and spiritual. So we have a personal cause of creation, a personal source of everything. And that person spreads his energies everywhere. A nice example is the banyan tree. A banyan tree is maybe rooted in some particular place. And when the banyan tree grows and extends its branches, it also roots itself in another place by lowering its branches into the earth. And from that other place, it grows more branches. And those branches also extend and become roots at some other place. In this way, one banyan tree can practically cover a complete, it looks like a complete forest. Such as a banyan tree. The Lord, although situated in his abode, he spreads his energies everywhere. And he is smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. In this universe, Lord Brahma is the greatest. He is the first created being, and he creates all other forms of life. Who created Brahma? Well, Krishna created him. In fact, only a plenary expansion of Krishna created Brahma. Even Krishna, original Krishna, did not have to get involved. Simply an expansion of Krishna creates Brahma in this universe. And there are countless universes in which Krishna creates a Brahma. So Krishna is greater than the greatest? In fact, you see that picture just right opposite me? Yeah? That is a portrait of the spiritual world and the material world. And in the bottom right corner, you'll see the Lord is lying down in Yoga Nidra, in sleep. And from his skin pores, innumerable material universes are coming out. So we could also say that this form of the Lord, Mahavishnu, from whom innumerable universes are coming, he is the greatest in terms of the material creation. But this Mahavishnu is simply an expansion of Krishna, a part of Krishna. So Krishna truly is greater than the greatest. He's also smaller than the smallest. How is that? Well, the smallest means you, me, and every living entity in this material world. We are known as Paramanu. Paramanu. Or Vibhinamsha. No, we're not Vibhinamsha. Anyway. We are Paramanu. We are small, very, very tiny, smaller than the atom. And Krishna, he is even smaller than that because he enters inside of each of us as the Paramatma. Right? We are known as the Atma. Each of us as a soul is called Atma, but Krishna is Paramatma. He is the super soul. But this super soul is able to be smaller than our own self, our own soul, because he enters into each of us. That is Krishna, smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest. And he's a person. So we've talked a lot about Krishna and his supremacy. And we've heard from Bhagavad Gita in the 7th chapter. Does anybody have any questions on anything that they have heard? Have any of these statements awoken in you any kind of question or curiosity? Anything whatsoever? Everybody's happy? Is there anything that we didn't understand? Anything that I went too quickly over? Yes, thank you. Okay, no problem. Huh. It's the what? Okay. The short answer is yes, it's dark. Srila Prabhupada said, at nighttime, that is the real nature of the material world. When the sun goes down and everything is dark, then that is the real nature of this world. The sunlight is the mercy of the Lord. Right? Krishna creates the sun in order that this world is lit up and we can actually get on with our activities. That's why Krishna puts a sun here. But he says in Bhagavad Gita, he says about his own abode, Nashashanko Napavaka, I can't remember the Sanskrit. He says that abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or the moon, nor by fire or electricity. It does not require any of those illuminators, because that spiritual dham, it is self-effulgent, it is self-illuminating. Actually, that illumination is coming from the person of the Lord. So the spiritual world, there's no requirement of a sun or a moon or fire or electricity, because it is naturally bright, light. This material world is dark, and therefore the Lord puts a sun inside and a moon inside and gives us the element of fire from which electricity comes, of course. So this world is dark, right? Which means the absence of light. And you asked, how is it that the world comes from Krishna? Is that right?
I was referring to darkness in the sense that how our current consciousness is in humanity.
Yeah.
And if our consciousness was elevated or purified,
Yeah.
then the world would become a different place.
Ah.
Consciousness would be
Yes.
all better. That's what I was.
Yes.
That's the term that I was using darkness in.
Okay.
Like I know that the sunlight or the sun comes from Krishna.
Yeah.
But right now we have a problem in humanity, as in that our consciousness is quite dull.
Yeah.
But if we elevated human consciousness,
Yeah.
would our material experiences or what goes on the planet and material world,
Yeah.
they would be different?
Definitely. Because actually, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So this whole material creation is also resting on the Lord. He also says in Bhagavad Gita that everything is in me, right? But I am not in everything. Which means that just like a spider, the web that the spider weaves comes from the spider. And certainly that web would have no existence without this spider. Yeah? And the spider is present in the web in the sense that, right, it's the spider's energy. It's the manifestation of the spider's energy. But the spider itself is simultaneously different from the web. You know?